2012 was a banner year for the NRDC Action Fund. We helped elect candidates who are growing the environmental majority across America. We know that candidates who are running clean will cut through the deceptive ads and be supported by voters who want a cleaner environment. As part of our 2012 election analysis, we bring you the environmental champions in their own words. I'm Heather Taylor Measley, and this is Running Clean with U.S. Senator Martin Heinrich from New Mexico.
Thanks for doing this interview. We are thrilled that you're in the Senate now, and we've been thrilled to work in the state of New Mexico. We're in this beautiful place, and I'm always constantly reminded how important conservation is. And I know that this is really important to you. Can you tell us a little bit about how you came to really prioritize conservation and the environment?
Well, it was part of my upbringing when I was a kid. My parents, I grew up on a ranch in a small town, and they never showed the kind of dichotomy where you only care about one thing and you don't care about something else. I always got the sense that things were connected. And I got to spend my childhood running around, exploring creeks and spending my time outside and helping with the ranch. And my parents were very progressive in their management and prioritized conservation. And so it just became a part of who I was at a very young age.
What kind of lessons would you suggest candidates who care about conservation issues use when they're running for office?
Make sure that whatever your message is, it's not overly poll-driven, it's not overly managed, it's rooted in the local reality. We have a couple of places in the state that there are citizen-driven national monument proposals right now, and those were great issues for us. And I think my opponent sort of felt obligated to be on the other side of that argument. And so we did incredibly well in those communities because those proposals really grew out of the local communities.
What was the impact of having those environmental groups in your race? And what kind of advice would you give us for the future?
Well, I think one of the things that NRDC Action Fund and some of the other groups did really well is looking individually race by race and finding the issues where either a candidate was very much on the right track or a candidate was out of sync with their community and making that contrast.
So not only was the environmental community active, of course, the fossil fuel industry got super active in many races across the country, again, yours being one of them. What role do you feel like they ultimately played in your race?
There was an enormous amount of money spent in all of the races, mine included, but I actually don't think it was spent all that well. And oftentimes it wasn't rooted in language and in stories and in sort of a local context that would have made it much more effective. Our messages were much more resonant with the voters. It was really about who was looking out for the future of jobs versus jobs that had been important in the past but were on the decline.
If there was one thing that we could do to help advance the ball and address climate change in any kind of meaningful way, what would that be?
I think it's important for people to realize that this new, cleaner energy economy is coming. And it's not only critical to addressing climate change, but there are going to be winners and losers within that economy. And there are going to be people and countries who lead, and there'll be other countries that are going to be following and catching up. I want to make sure that not only New Mexico, but the United States is a leader in that we realize the jobs and the layers of jobs from the people who manufacture these technologies to the people who install it to the people who maintain these technologies. And you want to maximize your economic impact as part of this new economy by having all of those things done here. And if you don't set good policy early on, you're going to be ceding, especially the manufacturing piece of that, to other countries.
So a lot of people think that there'll be some kind of an energy bill this year.
I hope so.
What do you think that your constituents hope you'll champion, and what issues will be most important to you personally?
There's a real hope that we see some progress on some of the issues that have been championed historically by people like Senator Bingaman, who was the chair. We need to move our energy portfolio in a cleaner, more domestic direction over time. It's not about being right, it's about moving the country forward.